Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. Today I will be sharing with you my new package. First of all, before going into any much detail, I'd like to tell you how I got to this today. I'm one of the enthusiastic photographers who likes new gear and has gear acquisition syndrome. And I've been working with single camera system only in the past, obviously because I couldn't afford any more than one cameras. But now, since I've started making videos, I think the cameras which were needed for my photography needs do not really cater more videography function, except for a few Sony cameras, obviously. But I've always liked the color scheme in Nikon more, and hence why I've stuck to Nikon for now. And this new camera here, surprise surprise, is a Nikon. Now this will be my 1, 2, 3 and 4 camera bodies, and I've actually saved for it for the last 1 year now. And it didn't come on its own. I wanted it with one of the best lenses, so I've got another surprise for you later on in the video. So I think without further ado, what I'd like us to do is open this pack up and see what's inside. Okay, so let's get into this box. As I was telling you guys, it took me a while to get hold of this camera. I got it with a kit. I will tell you at the very end. This is, I think, my F2Z adapter. We'll see. This one definitely looks like the main camera body, which has now come out. It's got with Z6 later on over here. And there are a few accessories that you have to buy if you're getting a new camera body, especially if you're getting an Nikon, is an XQD card. And I've got two here, one if I get full and the other one as a backup. So I'm going to use the 120 gig one to start off with, but obviously I've got a 64 gig as well in case I run out of space. So next thing we're going to do is let's get this body out. It's a very nice white pack. Looks really elite. This is the user manual. It's huge. Most of the Nikon users will probably not need to use the manual at all. Some might still do, but that's not the end of the world. It's a good bedtime read, I suppose. Now, this is the main camera body, which comes out of the box. And there you go. That's your Z6 camera. And that's your new Z mount. As you can see, it's massive. It's got its own special features. You can see the function buttons. You've got this grip. I've heard good reviews about this grip, and it is really nice. It fits nicely in my hand, all fingers in place. And I guess reaching your function buttons is not that difficult after all. There's a power switch here, which you can use very easily. And then there's the main shutter button. You've got a video recording. There's a back dial here. It's got a AF button at the back. There's a nice joystick you can use. It's got press function as well. Got an info, and all the buttons are in easy reach if you're holding the camera from this grip at this end. There you go. Other thing to look at is, as I said, the Z mount is a massive mount, as you can all see. And at this end, you've got the lens release button, as usual, any Nikon camera would have. You've got flaps for all your accessories. You can see nice waterproof body. Actually, it's not waterproof, it's a water resistant body. And that's your electronic viewfinder, which we will test in a minute. And that's your partially tilted touchscreen, which is present on the back panel. And you can bring it up to here, as you can see. And then you can go down here. actually have it back. I'm probably going to use it with the screen turned all the way down to the back. Some more stuff which comes out of the box is obviously your USB-C cable. It's got a C port and a USB 3 port at the other end. Got your battery charger. I've got a wave power charger which I use quite frequently, so I'm not going to rely on this one. But it's got a nice lock switch here for your power button. This probably is going to stay in the box, so if I have to sell my camera later at some point, I can sell it with the charger, because yeah, these kind of things do really matter. And you've got your power cable. You've got a Nikon Z strap, which I think is really nice, and I'm probably going to use this, so we'll keep it for later. Then we've got a battery, which obviously we're going to use, and there is a mount clip, basically this clip that you can use to organize your cables very well. Okay, so the second thing I'm going to unbox here is my F2Z adapter, which is probably not that exciting, but it does come in the same white premium box. It's got loads of bubble wrap in there, and then you take it out here. So this is what it looks like. Now, I have seen it in different YouTube videos. I do follow a lot of camera channels, especially photography channels, and it didn't look as big, I have to tell you, in those videos. Now, I do presume once I take these caps off, the thickness might decrease a bit, but to be honest, it hasn't. So that's something to keep in mind, that if you do mount an F2Z adapter, your camera thickness will increase. Plus, you've got a F-mount lens to mount at the end, so it will look something like a DSLR then. Okay, guys. So this is Nikon Z6. As you can see, I've got my 2470 f2.8 lens mounted on it. It's a silent shoot. I'm not using a microphone again, which I was using before. And I'm going to rely on this camera's autofocus now. Now, something to mention here is I had a field-worthy 4K monitor, which I was using with my previous camera. You must have seen me look at it a few times. And it is not completely compatible with the Z6, which means I have to upgrade, which basically means I have to spend more money. Money I don't have at the moment. Reason is the fieldwork 4K monitor, I think, can only do 30 frames per second. If you try and go any more than 30 frames per second, it doesn't just get the signal. Nikon Z6, on the other hand, is capable of filming 120 frames per second at 1080p. So if you're going to use 1080p 120 frames per second feature, you need a monitor to see if you're in focus, then you're probably going to need an external monitor, such as Atomos Ninja 5, which comes with Nikon's Filmmaker Kit. Something about autofocus. Do you really need a monitor, or do you not need a monitor? I don't really feel that you need a monitor with this camera. Now, I am relying on this camera's internal face detect autofocus, which to me seems like it's working pretty well. I think it's just the settings you have to set properly, and then it does do the job at some point. If you use it for subject tracking, which is entirely different, then it will probably not detect your face, or maybe it will. I've not tried it yet. But what I have done now is I'm using auto area focus, and I'm using full-time AF in the video function, and the face detection is perfect. I'm just going to give you a demo. My face there. And there. And there you go. See how quickly it acquires focus there? I'm going to move out of the frame once. There you go. So I've not had problems with the face detect in video mode, and the eye autofocus in single continuous mode when you're doing still photography is one of the best means to do things. So I don't think, if strictly speaking, you're going to use this camera for video, you can though rely on the autofocus really well. The only thing which bothers me slightly is I don't get to see if I'm framed right, if I'm in the center of the frame, and hence I'm still shooting 4K 30 frames per second so that I can use my fieldwork monitor with it. Now, if you want to buy the Atomos, it's probably going to cost you £700 to £800 on the monitor itself. And then you have to buy some batteries. It comes with its own battery set, which is £200 at least. And then you have to buy a hard drive for it, because there's no reason to buy Atomos Ninja 5 and not be able to record N-Log video on it, because this camera can do 8 and 10-bit N-Log, which is video equivalent of a raw still file. And if you've got raw still file, you've got bigger dynamic range, and hence, if you can record it to an external recorder, you can play with colors, you can play with highlights, you can get those shadows brightened up really well. But at the same time, it makes me think a bit. A monitor, at the same time, you're going to get batteries, a drive, does serve a function, but it's about £1,200 that you're going to spend on it. And £1,200 can get you a very decent, very good, new, sharp lens. So I'm still confused. I don't know if I'm going to buy the Atomos Ninja 5. I'm going to get a new lens first. Nikon's not really come up with many new lenses. This 2470 f2.8 is a brilliant, sharp lens. And I think people have done comparisons online, and it is more sharp than previous lenses. Now, f2.0 adapter, which you get with the camera, works perfectly. Now, people have made different videos, and they talk about how it slows down autofocus. Now, I've got 3 native full format lenses, which I've used from my crop sensor camera, the 7500, in the past, and it's not caused me any problems so far. And I don't think it is slow. Well, I've not tried it in the field yet. The only problem then is if you're going to make any videos with your lenses, and the ones I've got is a 50 prime, I've got 24 prime, I've got 105 prime, I've got a zoom lens 200-500. The autofocus is terrible. It's not the autofocus which is terrible. The camera is so good in controlling that lens that actually the lens motor struggles, and you can hear it struggling. It screams at you. It tries to tell you, please don't make me do this. But the autofocus is quick, is sharp, and it gets you in focus. So, I mean, there's always something you're gonna lose, I think. One problem I think I may have, especially when I go in the field, because I do a lot of photography, I travel a lot, I like Africa, Middle Eastern countries, and as soon as you open that front Z mount, you see that big sensor. Now, indoors, when I'm making this video, it's not been a problem, and I don't think it will be a problem. But if you go outdoors, that dust is going to catch on that sensor straight away. So I have to be very, very careful with it. I can hold the camera down, but I've never cleaned a sensor so far. I think that will have to change, and I'll probably have to clean my own sensors now. Having said that, this camera has a function where you can make it clean the sensor itself. Excuse me. And it can do it on every power off. How well that works for dust particles or smudges on the sensor, I'm not too sure. The sensor sits right next to the door, so you have to be very careful you don't smudge it with your fingers, especially when you're opening the front mount. Now, the good thing about this camera is it is very customizable. It's got 2 function buttons in front. You've got a info menu, which is huge. I think it's got 12 or 14 different functions you can fit into that. And then you've got some extra buttons at the back, so you can use your zoom in and zoom out button as function buttons. The Nikon Z lens comes with its own function button, so you've got so many different function buttons, and you've got 2 dials. So, I mean, if you've got 7 or 8 function buttons and you can use 2 dials, you've got 14 functions plus 14 info buttons. In addition to that, you've got on the main dial, the mode dial, you've got your standard manual mode, program mode, auto mode, aperture, and search priority mode. You've got 3 user modes, and those user modes are 3 for still and 3 for video. So You'll have 6 different modes saved into this camera already. So it is a proper professional mirrorless camera. And you can save 6 different settings on it. Now, I know I did say in the beginning of this video that it will probably be easy for a Nikon user to navigate the menu, but I have been a Nikon user for the past 5 or 6 years. I've had a Nikon D5300, which switched to a D7200, then a D7500, and this is my first full frame and also a first mirrorless Nikon camera. Now, I know the menus really well, but because they've switched the buttons a bit, although they sit right next to your thumb at the same time, I think the menu was not what I expected it to be, and there were a few changes which I will take some time to get used to. Having said that, I'm enjoying it so far. The battery has not run out yet. The one which came with the camera was dead, so I had to recharge it. In the meantime, I've used a Rave Power battery, which I use very often with my other camera. Didn't give me the time I was expecting, but I think I have to look for this one and see how much I can get on there. So for now, I think that's all I have to say, and peace out to you, and I will come back to you with some more videos.